Hey guys, hope you're going well. Today I'm doing a countdown of some of my most favorite guilty pleasure movies. Now, for me, a guilty pleasure movie is firstly something that I might be slightly embarrassed, possibly, to admit that I love. A movie that I have already watched many times and will probably watch many times in the future. And thirdly, it would certainly have to be a movie that if I was home alone by myself on a rainy Saturday night, this is a movie I would totally feel like watching. So basically it's a movie that I have watched many times and I'm slightly embarrassed that I've watched it as many times as I've watched it, but in the future I am also going to watch it many more times to come. And as a bonus, today's video is in collaboration with the beautiful Maria from the CineClub channel here on YouTube. She is a wonderful movie reviewer. She also talks about things currently happening on Netflix. She does top 5 compilations, and recently she went to the Sundance Film Festival. She's got a really awesome vlog series on her channel, so please go and check that out. She's also done a top 5 guilty pleasure movies. In fact, today's topic was actually her idea, and we could have easily doubled up on some of our picks for this top 5 list, but we've managed to keep them separate. Now, it would seem that most of my picks for this list do come from my early teenage years. For some reason, it just happens to be quite an influential time. Some of them I genuinely think are great, and some of them are probably not great, but I really don't care. Number 5, I wanted to pick an animated Disney movie from my childhood, The Emperor's New Groove. Now, this is a movie that my younger sister and I can quote from beginning to end verbatim. I love the voices of David Spade, John Goodman, the king of animation, and Patrick Warburton as Kronk, the dumb but lovable sidekick to the evil Yzma. This is such a gorgeous bromance road trip type of movie, and it's got great music from Sting and Tom Jones. Also, the awesome thing which makes it extremely hilarious in my mind is its impeccable comic timing and lots of pop culture references. Indiana Jones from Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, there's lines in there from Grease, just all these like really subtle pop culture references that I know when I watched the movie when I was a kid, I didn't pick up until rewatching it later among the years. Every time I watch it, I find new funny moments that I hadn't realized were there before. And a comedy movie that in my mind can age and speak differently to kids as it does to young adults, as it does to adults, I think is really awesome. Number 4 is another one from my early teen years, as they all are, like I mentioned, and that is The Mummy. I had the biggest crush on Brendan Fraser because he was a hero, but he was also like silly and goofy. The Mummy legitimately terrified me when I very first saw it as a kid, and then later on I grew to love it and not be so terrified, although some moments, I will admit, some moments still freak me out a little bit. This movie has it all for me. It has history of the Egyptian mythology, it has action, adventure, and mystery. They're trying to get to the bottom and solve the riddle, and all of this sprinkled with awesome comedy throughout. I think it's amazing, and no wonder it went on to do another 2 movies, so there are 3 movies in total, and then it also spun off and did like comic books and video games, and it also did The Scorpion King later on, which I did see with The Rock and also loved. There's even a ride for it at Universal Studios, which I have done. The writer-director from this movie went on to later make Van Helsing, which I also loved. Another mythological monster movie, really awesome. For number 3, I need to admit my love for the early Adam Sandler comedies, especially Big Daddy. This has to be one of my favorites from Adam Sandler. I just think it is so hilarious and sweet. Adam Sandler plays Sonny, who doesn't have a lot going for him. He's a bit of a man-child himself when his long-lost son, who he's never heard of, 5-year-old Julian, rocks up on his doorstep, and the two of them have to learn to get along. A lot of people don't think that this movie really sits right on the scale. On one end, the humor is really quite crude and crass and probably isn't that I don't know, witty, and on the other hand it's got really strong sentimental father and son bonding type of stuff. But I really like the mix. I know the humor isn't really clever and whatever, but I love this movie. I think it's hilarious. I've watched it so many times and I can quote all the best lines. Number 2, I feel like I'm getting everything out on the table with you guys now. With my confessions of a romantic comedy that I love, and that is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days with Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey. I've always been a huge fan of Kate Hudson and I think she is really adorable and quirky in this movie. A lot of people find her character extremely irritating, which I can understand, but I think that's all part of the charm.
Oh, hi!
The plot is pretty stupidly simple. Kate Hudson is writing an article about how in new relationships, if women who are overly clingy are able to repel men and make them run for the hills in 10 days. And conversely, Matthew McConaughey is trying to do the exact opposite. He's trying to win a woman's heart in 10 days. So of course, the two of them get together and they're like butting heads in a spectacular way as she is trying to make him dump her and he is trying to get her to love him. Look, the movie does always go for the cheap laughs, and yes, it's a little bit overplayed, but I can't help it. I still really like it. Number 1 is another small confession to my romantic girly side with the movie Ever After. I have always been a huge Drew Barrymore fan, especially from her early days. I have seen pretty much all of her movies. Ever After is an adaptation with a twist of the original Brothers Grimm Cinderella fairy tale, which I do love, and of course Drew Barrymore, which I already mentioned. Angelica Hudson plays the evil stepmother and she is phenomenal in it. The director of this movie, actually, Andy Tennant, earlier he did It Takes Two with the Olsen twins, which is another movie which is awesome. I've always been a sucker for historical and period piece settings, so I absolutely love the costuming of this movie, and not to mention the fact that the Cinderella character, Drew Barrymore, is able to fend for herself too. She is fiercely independent and isn't just some sort of placid damsel to be rescued. And my favorite moment is when she makes an appearance at the masked ball being held by the prince, and she rocks up in this beautiful white sort of fairy angel dress with glitter all over her. And I remember when I watched the movie, it was my dream to, you know, wear that dress one day. I think I'm gonna watch that movie right now, as in tonight. I feel like watching it now. Cool guys, they were my top 5 guilty pleasure movies. Of course, there are always so many more, but there are a few for today. Why don't you let me know what some of your top guilty pleasure movies would be in the comments section down below. I would love to know. I'm also going to leave a link to the lovely Maria at the CineClub channel. She's got an awesome top 5 list for you to check out as well, with some funny pics in there I think you might like. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and keep up to date with my other movie and TV reviews, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.